This is TWiT. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk about home theater with our home theater geek, Mr. Scott Wilkinson, a contributor at techhive.com and a regular on this show. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
How are you?
Doing great, thanks.
So, what's up?
Well, I've got a listener question here that basically is asking me to spend his money.
Oh, I love it when they ask me to spend money. That's fun. All right. What does he need? Let's do it. Let's spend money.
Okay. So it's Brian in Philly, and he's putting together a media room in his new home. And he's wondering if I could help him with the setup of TV and soundbar. He wants it simple, but he wants it awesome.
Sometimes those two don't go together.
Sometimes not. And he wants the biggest TV he can get, or the biggest image he can get. And so he's looking at the largest TCL. He's an all Roku kind of guy. So
TCL's good, right?
TCL's good, yeah. And
it's not, I wouldn't call it awesome.
I guess I agree.
It depends on your definition of awesome. I mean,
right.
An OLED would look better even, but
Correct.
TCL's fine, right?
Yes, exactly.
Especially their new ones. The high-end series are pretty good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And he says that no budget limit at the moment. So I'm going, okay. If there's really no budget limit, I would look. The largest TV, flat panel TV you can get these days is in the 83 to 85 inch range. And it's a fairly large room, apparently. And so if money really is no object, I would start with the LG 83C1 OLED. 83 inches, the C1 series is $5,500. So, it ain't cheap. If you want to go down a little bit from that, the Samsung QN85 for $4,000. That's an LCD TV with quantum dot technology. It's really very good. In the $3,000 range, you can go with either the TCL 85 R745, which is not their top of the line, doesn't use mini LED backlights, but it's the biggest one they make. And that's $3,000. But you can also get a Vizio P85QX for the same amount of money, and they're very comparable. So I would say if you're in the $3,000 range, look at the TCL or the Vizio. If he's a Roku guy anyway, he doesn't really need a Roku TV because he probably has a Roku outboard box. So, you don't really need a Roku TV unless you don't plan to have an extra box in that room. Another option I might recommend or suggest that you look into are ultra short throw projectors, UST projectors, which we've talked about.
I got a Hisense.
You got one of those.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Hisense, and that'll give you a 100-inch screen.
It's a little washed out compared to direct view because it's
correct.
A projector.
It is. That is correct. And you need a special screen to go with it. Now,
right.
The Hisense comes with a screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the projectors, most of the UST projectors that I would recommend don't. And so you'd have to add that onto your budget. The Optima P2 is $3,300. The Epson LS300 is $2,000. The LS500 is $5,000. And Samsung makes a couple, LSP 9, 7, and 9 at $3,500 and $6,500. And those are really quite good. He also asked the question, what are your thoughts about projector versus wall-mounted TV for a large space? And the larger the space, the larger the screen you want. So at some point, you really are going to want a projector, which isn't going to be as bright, not nearly as bright as a flat panel TV. And also, projectors have a much harder time with high dynamic range. So because they're not nearly as bright, and most of them don't have nearly the same deep black level as a flat panel TV, projectors, either front projectors or ultra short throw projectors, just can't do HDR nearly as well as a flat panel TV. So if you're a real videophile and you want as good HDR as you can get, then you're back to a flat panel TV. And if you can spend the money on an LG 83-inch C1 OLED, it's not going to be as bright as an LCD, but it's still going to give you a superb picture. I mean, you've got OLED. I've got OLED in my theater. That's what I use. It's just the best picture you can get.
Oh, I love it. We have, we have a variety of TVs to choose from, and so the best TV, you're right, but we put it in a room where we can get it pretty dark. But it's gorgeous, and we sit fairly close. So I think we have a 70, but it's very much a cinema experience because we're only maybe 6 feet, 7 feet from the screen.
Exactly right. So
distance from the screen is part of what makes a screen big. If you're going to sit 10 feet away, then 80 inches would almost be not enough.
Yeah, almost not enough. Exactly right. Yeah. He also asks about what do I recommend for the paint color on the TV wall, the wall where the TV is going to be. And that's an easy answer. The answer is, if your spouse will allow it, black.
Black, not Battleship Gray?
Nope. Black. Absolute black on the wall where the TV is.
That has a low SAF, I have to say.
Yes, it has a low SAF.
Yeah.
Spousal acceptance factor. That's correct.
Yeah.
However,
honey, I want to paint a room black. What are you emo now? What's going on?
When we moved into this house where we're at now, and I have a home theater, I was going to paint the whole room black, and my wife said, I think I'm going to veto that. But
you could the back wall would be enough, right?
The back wall isn't, well, you want the whole room to be dark. And he says he has very little ambient light, natural light in the room, which is good.
Okay.
But you want the whole room to be dark and neutral. So in my wife and my case, we looked at the palette, and she pointed to the darkest one she would accept. So, and still it's fine. It's like 9 or 10% reflectivity. So it's very dark in there.
That's good.
Which is good. It's perfectly fine.
So you want to be kind of like in this chamber where the only light is the TV?
Correct.
Wow.
Well, and a bias light. We've talked about bias lights before. The TV is so bright that it can
hurts your
cause
eyes.
eye fatigue. Yeah, exactly. So ideally you want a light behind the TV that gives a larger area of some light. Not a lot, but some. And that biases your eyes into a range where they don't get fatigued.
Huh.
So that's an important thing to consider as well.
Doesn't that kind of I mean, let's be honest. Why paint it black if you're going to have a colored light behind the TV?
It's not colored. No, it's a very specific white of that light. That light has to be a very particular color of white, technically called D65.
The Liam Neeson color. A very particular color of light. D65.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now we have a D65 light.
Yep.
We have a black room. We have a TCL 80-inch.
Yep.
Now how about sound?
He wants a sound bar, and he was thinking about getting a TCL sound bar, which I would not recommend because they don't have sound bars that have actual surround sound. I would get a Vizio Elevate if he can afford it. It's $1,000, but it's really the best high-end sound bar out there that isn't many thousands of dollars. So that would be the one I would get, or possibly Yamaha or a Vizio. Yeah, the Vizio Elevate is the one I would get, or the next
Atmos,
one down from
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yes, they have Atmos. Yeah, and that would sound awesome.
Yeah.
He wants awesome, he'd get awesome.
I like having discrete speakers and AV receiver and all that, but that's a lot more complicated. And
it's a lot more complicated.
He said simple. Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. He's our home theater geek. Contributor at TechHive.com and a regular. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.